Hello, everybody, and welcome to the MASL TST Show. This is the content you've been waiting on, recapping the upcoming TST tournament through the lenses of the Major Arena Soccer League. My name is Christian Phileman, otherwise known as Philly, and joining me on this fun off-season soccer ride, Amanda Phileman, also known as Panda.
What's going on, guys? So excited to be here. Can't wait to talk to you guys about so many fun TST tidbits. Of course, we're going to talk about the rules of the game, the tournament format, and just all the players that you need to be keeping your eye on. But listen, we could not do this without the man who puts a PhD in personality, the Dr. Jonathan Reimer himself. What is going on?
Philly, Panda, I get to see you guys again, and it's during the off season. And folks, to all of you, you get to see our lovely faces as well too, because it's time to talk some TST. But Philly, my friend, what does that have to do with the MASL?
That's a darn good question. For those of you who are wondering why we're doing this off-season content, there's a tournament going on in Cary, North Carolina that Amanda's really going to expand upon called the TST. This is the second time in its history that this tournament is going on. And last year, there were a lot of Major Arena Soccer League players featured. We're going to get into history momentarily. But this year, there are 48 teams competing for $1 million. And out of those 48 teams, 21 of them feature MASL talent. And we have nearly 100 players from the Major Arena Soccer League with every team represented. That's the reason why we're doing the show. Panda, why don't you give the listeners out there a really quick overview as to this tournament's format?
Oh, this tournament is going to be fast and furious. It's going to start out the gate, and it's going to start Wednesday, June 5th, and it's going to run through Monday, June 10th. And like you mentioned, Philly, it's going to take place at WakeMed Soccer Park in Cary, North Carolina. And there are going to be 118 games in just 6 days. Whew, that's a lot of football on that turf. I cannot wait to see it. And, you mentioned the 48 men's teams. It is up from 32 last year. And the format kind of goes like this. 12 of the teams or 12 of the groups are going to be 4 teams per group. And they're going to have 3 games in a group. So if you know how group stages work in any of the major tournaments around the world, that's exactly how this is going to play out. They're all going to play each other, and then they will advance. They're each going to play each other at one time. Now, the top 32 teams from the group will make a 32-team single bracket, and then the 8 women's teams is the new addition to this tournament. I'm so excited about this. This is probably the one thing that I'm the most excited about is the fact that there's an entire division for the women's game. There's going to be 8 women's teams. 2 of the groups are going to have 4 teams each, if you know how to math. And then, of course, the top 2 teams from each group will advance to the semifinals. And that'll be, of course, on Monday. They're going to be 2 $1 million winner take all. Oh, my gosh. I mean, I wish I was playing in this. Can you believe that? Huh. Mind blown.
I mean, $1 million on the line is wild. So let's get into how each game breaks down. You've got 2 20-minute halves. For all you indoor fans, you're going to love that this is on a small field. So we're playing on a 45 by 65 pitch. Everyone's going to be sharing the same pitches, so should be fairly even in its size, so no worrying about that. You got 14 players that'll make up your squad for any game. Unlimited substitutions coming in and off, just like they were going over the boards in indoor. There is no offsides, no slide tackling allowed in this tournament. And then one of the really fun things about the TST that came out last year was the target score time. So basically, at the end of the game, the team with the lead needs to score 1 more goal in order to win. The team that's trailing has to catch up and pass the team in the lead by 1 goal in order for the game to be completed. So, for example, if the score is 2-1 at the end of the game, the team with 2 goals would need to score 1 more goal, and it's over. The team with only 1 goal would have to score not only 1 to tie, but 1 to advance, and then the game would be over. Every 5 minutes that goes without a goal or without the game ending, a player gets removed from either side. And that's when it gets really wild. And when this tournament unveiled last year, I think that's what brought in the craziness and drove a lot of viewers. But with more on last year's tournament, Philly.
Yeah, founded back in 2023. It was done by the same group of people that put on the basketball tournament, the TBT. And obviously, it was a big success, which is why they're running it back again. And the attention that it grabbed was very palpable. We talked about how it started with 32 teams. We talk about how many teams there are competing now, 48. So many unbelievable players that are going to be competing in here. But we're only going to focus on those that are part of the Major Arena Soccer League. So it was a 4-day tournament as opposed to the one that we're going to see, which is extended. And the winners of it was this club side called Newtown Pride FC, which featured an entire team of all-stars from the Major Arena Soccer League. They defeated a team called SLC FC in the finals. 2-0 was the result. A cheeky backheel pass from Drew Ruggles to Nunez sealed it 2-0. And so many of your favorite MASL players featured in that and made themselves a couple of bucks. So obviously the idea is that our boys would come back and run it through for another season. Now even more players from the Major Arena Soccer League came through. I believe we had somewhere between 70 and 80 players last season. We nearly have 100. And as I said, 48 teams are competing, 21 of which have MASL players on there. And we're not going to go through every single team, but we're certainly going to highlight a lot of the bigger teams that have a huge MASL roster. And to kick things off, Panda, why don't you talk about the reigning, defending TST champions, Newtown Pride FC?
Yeah, that's right. Newtown Pride is back, and they are going to be just as good as they were last season. They have 18 MASL players on their team. It is the most of any team that features MASL players. And you're going to see the likes of Berto Palmer, Tavoy Morgan and Gabriel Costa, Justin Stenson, Seba Mendez, Luis Morales, and Christian Hernandez are just a few of the big names that are going to be on this powerhouse club. Now, Philly, why don't you move on to our next one for everybody?
Yeah, Tranquilo FC, or also known as Tranqui 10 FC, is the second biggest team featuring Major Arena Soccer League players. And we're looking at 17 players that are going to be coached by Empire Strikers GM and former Coach of the Year, Jimmy Nordberg, alongside Clay Roberts of the Florida Tropics, who also is the assistant coach of the Empire Strikers this past season. 8 MASL teams are featured in Tranqui 10 FC, or Tranquilo FC, as I like to call them. And the biggest name, the MASL Newcomer of the Year, is going to be headlining it, Marco Fabian. We have former MASL Defender of the Year, Chad Vandergriff, Ramon Palmer, Mike Ramos and Nani Mendoza from the Tacoma Stars, Navarrete and Tetsane from the Harrisburg Heat, Mitchell Cardenas for you soccer fans out there, Ricardo Dieguez, who came through with the Baltimore Blast, Skylar Funk from the St. Louis Ambush, and so many more.
Our next team to highlight, featuring 10 MASL players and repping it south of the border. Ever asked yourself, man, the Savage and Monterey were so good this year. What would happen if they just combined forces and made one team? Well, folks, bienvenidos, La Bombonera. La Bombonera features a combination of 7 players off the back-to-back Ron Newman Cup Championship Chihuahua Savage team, and 3 players from Monterey. So if you like to cheer on the likes of Popper, La Roca, Roberto Escalante, mi compa Adrian Miller, La Bombonera is your team.
All right, next team that is featuring MASL players is Nani FC. They're bringing in 6 MASL players to this team. Most notable, the king himself, Frank Tayu out of UCFC. And of course, the cheeky back heel of Drew Ruggles will be returning from San Diego. And of course, Richard Carvalho and a few more, of course, that we did not mention. But those 3 right there are some pretty big names for that team alone.
He goes by Richard in Milwaukee, but we know him as Ricardo. As far as another player to keep an eye, or another team to keep an eye on, Villarreal. Now, we're not talking about the team from La Liga. We're talking about a team that features 6 MASL players, mainly from the Texas Outlaws and the Dallas Sidekicks. We got Sidekicks. We got Outlaws living together. If that's not mass hysteria, I don't know what else is. Villarreal, another club to keep an eye on.
Oh, I love a Ghostbusters reference. You can slip those in anytime, my friend. That will always, always fly with me. A team that maybe hasn't flown with some people, certainly filled with some fiery personalities, folks, and that is CONCACAF FC. They have 5 MASL players. We're talking Huff the Stuff and Alvarez showing up from the Wave, Gordy Gerson from UCFC, Stefan Mijatovic from Stars/Empire, and of course, Zach Reggett, your co-Golden Boot winner of the last season from the Comets. This team is stacked. Can all these personalities fit onto one team is the question.
Oh, I can't wait to see that one and talk a little bit more about them. But our next team is Sneaky Fox, and they were not very sneaky last year. They came out with a vengeance and actually made a really good run for that $1 million prize last year. They are coming back with Chris Toth and Nick Pereira, as well as Juice Cox, and adding Guerrero Pino as well from San Diego. So 5 players for Sneaky Fox will be playing on this team.
And we got Saturday's Football, known for one of my favorite places to buy football kits, vintage football kits. What I love about Saturday's Football is they've got my credit card on file, and I spent an awful lot of money on there. But that's not what we're talking about. They have a team in the TST featuring 5 MASL players, most notably Alex Caceres and Luis Bureta from the Tacoma Stars and Steven Fernandez from Utica City FC. Doc, there are so many other teams out there. Why don't you quickly run through the list of some of the other teams that have MASL talent on it?
Quick Goal, spell quick with a K, my friends, featuring 4 MASL players. North Carolina FC and Summer of Soccer will also have 4 players from the MASL represented in their squad. Pasha Luxury will have 3. Zala FC 2 players, and then Desiempedidos. All right, I made it through that one. Dueling for Lincoln, Hashtag United, Manhattan Kickers, Reggae Rovers, Sire 7, Super United, and 1015 FC will all be featuring talent from the Major Arena Soccer League.
Now, really quickly, we've mentioned the 21 teams briefly. I know each and all of you, for that matter, all 2 or 3 of us, all have your picks as far as who you think is going to do some damage. So why don't we start off with ladies first? Panda, who's your pick for TST out of this group of MASL talent?
Oh, man. I honestly, I just think MASL is going to run away with this. So any of these teams with this amount of MASL players on it are going to be great. All the ones we mentioned here are going to be so much fun to watch. There's 2 that I've got my eye on. First, of course, Tranquilo FC. I think with the likes of having Marco Fabian on that squad, his leadership and ability, along with the other players that are on that team, I think that they're going to come in and, they may take a few of these veteran teams by storm. So I'm really excited to see how they fare and how Marco Fabian can continue to just take his talents to another game and dominate. Now, I also have my eyes, though, on CONCACAF SC because like you said it, Doctor, all those personalities combined, if they can get their stuff together and channel that into some kind of cohesion and teamwork, then they're going to be tough. I mean, you've seen the boot on Stefan Mijatovic and Zach Reggett. They are scoring machines. So those are my 2 to keep my eye on. Who
Doc,
would like
why
to
don't
go
you go
next?
I'm going to say it's going to be hard for me to root against the back-to-back Ron Newman Cup champions, given the amount and the quality of the talent of Chihuahua Savage players. I'm going to have to go with La Bombonera.
Cleverly named after the iconic stadium in Argentina where Boca Juniors compete. I do like the name, but come on. You can't sleep on the defending champions. My money is on Newtown Pride FC. And if you look at the roster, you've got defenders of the years. You've got amazing goalkeeping. You've got amazing offensive players. You've got so much talent on that side. Charlie Gonzalez, Gabriel Costa, Tavoy Morgan. You've got Robert Palmer, who's the defender of the year. Sebastian Mendez, who's one of the most exciting young players in the Major Arena Soccer League. William Eske represents St. Louis Ambush, and they're coached by Uzi Tayu, somebody who we know very well, representing the Texas Outlaws. You can't turn your eyes back on the defending champions. They take the prize. They walk away with 7 figures, baby. Newtown, let's go.
Well, folks, hopefully we are walking away with you better prepared for today's action at the TST tournament. We are going to be coming to you every single day throughout the course of the tournament. We're going to try and update you on all things that are happening with your favorite MASL players. With some luck, we can hopefully snag a few interviews for you and help you preview what's coming up throughout the course of the rest of the soccer tournament. But it's going to be a fun one, my friends. You looking forward to this?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we miss this game when it's the off season. So this is just a nice little tidbit of what we all love to see when we're in those arenas. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really excited to start covering this and find out who the winner is.
Oh, I'm super pumped. But then again, I'm the kind of guy that has enough energy to make coffee nervous. I can't wait for this tournament to kick off. And you're going to be seeing a bit of us every single day between now and the time we crown a tournament champion. So that being said, you've got your preview. Wait for your recap. So we'll be highlighting the first day after the first day. So we shall see you soon on the MASL TST show. Bye for now.